A couple of days ago, the spokesperson of Al-Qassam Brigades, the armed wing of Hamas, Abu Ubaida, said that in two incidents, two of the Hamas guards in charge of protecting the Israeli prisoners kidnapped in Gaza targeted them. One of them was killed and two were wounded. Today we had a confirmation from him that this man, the Israeli IDF prisoner in Gaza, was actually killed, and he elaborated further. He said that the man who killed him had two of his children assassinated in an Israeli strike on Gaza. He reiterated that what happened does not represent Hamas's ethics nor their religious teachings, and that they will be taking stricter measures when it comes to these people. However, he blamed Israel for this assassination, saying that they violate all laws and all humanitarian laws when it comes to the genocide in Gaza and infanticide against the people and children and infants and the destruction, therefore leading some people to do these actions. Israel is denying this. Of course, they say that Hamas are lying, that they're using psychological warfare against them. However, we have been used to Israel, of course, denying all of these things, but at a later stage, they, in some instances, admit. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is we have the negotiations going on in Qatar without Hamas. The United States, Qatar, Egypt, and Israel are in Doha. They are talking in what many people describe as the last attempt for a genuine ceasefire, and it looks like all of these parties are trying to come up with a formula that will please Benjamin Netanyahu. At the end of the day, he is the main obstacle for a ceasefire, and try and reach a deal before everything explodes regionally and potentially globally as well. The interesting thing is that Axios had a report that Donald Trump called Benjamin Netanyahu, supposedly pushing him to agree to a ceasefire. The people who reported the call of Donald Trump for Benjamin Netanyahu did not specifically say that he called him to advise him to have a ceasefire. However, this is what is understood from this conversation. This is a new length that the American administration, the United States in general, is going to try and apply pressure on Israel, because so far all of the pressure did not work. We had conversations between Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu, during which Joe Biden was screaming at him and swearing at him, according to many reports. Yet Benjamin Netanyahu did not submit to the US pressure and was still going ahead with his genocide campaign in accordance to the pressure that's being applied on him from two of his most extreme ministers, Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, and he's still going that way. The third and final thing that I want to talk to you about in this video is that we had an interesting report in Politico. We've had talks about Israel having a peace process with Saudi Arabia for a very long time now, and we, several months back, had a proposal on the table. The United States administration offered a deal on Israel to have an all-out solution, finally have a state for the Palestinian people, have some sort of stability, and have a peace treaty with Saudi Arabia that would lead to an increase in the ties of Saudi Arabia and the United States, and then potentially ditching some of the dealings that they had with China, because the Chinese influence and Chinese relation with Saudi Arabia is growing intensively. So there was no progress, because reports at the time said Benjamin Netanyahu did not accept that offer. Now we heard, according to that report in Politico, they said that Mohammed bin Salman also fears for his life. The report said that he fears that he will be assassinated, just like the late Egyptian president Anwar Sadat was assassinated after he had signed a peace treaty with Israel, although that assassination as well, there are many question marks around it and who carried it out, many suspicions at the time, but that's a long story. However, bin Salman is worried about his life, and to him, the argument that he was giving the United States administration is they can't have a deal with the US if there's no all-out deal with Israel too. Why? Because so long as there is no solution, there's lack of stability, and the Saudi state will suffer from this lack of stability. The United States administration is still trying to come up with a formula with Saudi Arabia, with or without Israel. Again, according to reports we had several months back saying that the United States was willing to have an agreement with Saudi Arabia even if Israel was not included. However, so far these attempts are failing.